Greetings, everybody, and welcome back to Refugee to Industrial Regent. This episode is going to be focused on entertainment for Byzantium, and specifically entertainment in the form of a hippodrome. Now, as you can see, I am currently laying down a floor of birch wood, as well as some limestone brick edging, and yes, killing the odd chocobo that gets in the way. Fortunately, there won't be too many of those. What there will be more than a few of are trips back to the storehouse, and probably some long trips back to the storehouse at a couple of points. Simply because there is no way for me to carry enough resources on my person to actually complete this entire structure. Now, you can actually see me laying down the northern part of the racetrack before moving back to the birchwood outer ring. Yes, more edging. There is a lot to be done here. The north-south dimension, the long dimension, is 64 blocks. The short dimension, the width of the short dimension, is 32 blocks. Suffice it to say, that means a massive amount of material will be used in this construction. And now I've made my way to the southern section of the concourse loop, laying down the last of the birchwood floor, making sure it's all lit up, before proceeding back to the track to lay it down and make sure it's lit up. Also went ahead and built a little bit of a step up, just to ensure that the population can actually get in to the hippodrome once it's complete. And now to complete the actual track itself. It's not too complicated, just a massive amount of resources. Then again, a pretty massive build. In case you're wondering, that back wall there that you see to the center right of your screen is simply a temporary wall designed to ensure that mobs that spawn in the jungle that I have not yet cleared up cannot make their way into Byzantium itself. And now I've placed some blocks in the central concourse, the central divider between the two directions of the track. Hippodromes historically had a pretty narrow strip in the middle and a long oval track with, like I said, very tight corners at the end. And here I am, and am I using marble for this? I think I'm using marble at this point for the outer wall. And then I place more of the marble, and I believe at some point I realized that I just don't have enough marble to finish the job. Now there I used some carpenter's blocks to place some sandstone columns. More marble to finish off the central reservation. I have to admit, I don't actually know what that central area of a hippodrome is called. I probably should have looked this up before I went on camera. And there's me placing down some dirt along the central reservation and then connecting it out to the edge. The idea of that connection to the edge is so that I can have grass growing up across the dirt path and onto the reservation. And this is the point at which I realized that I don't have nearly enough marble to complete the job, so I opted to replace it with stone. And in case you're wondering, it's not all smooth stone. I've actually used stone slabs from Forge Microblocks to give the outer walls of the hippodrome a bit of definition. Now here I am taking care of some more details with the wall, the section that I had previously completed. in the wrong material. And now there is no more marble on the edge, on the outer wall. All the marble I've used in this project, all the marble I will use on this project, is on the edges of the central reservation. And as I go back to the storehouse to gather more materials, you can actually see the grass growing. I admit, maybe not the most interesting thing to watch. Ah, yes, and now for the inner wall around the track. Oh, yes, I think I used marble for this as well, now that I think about it. Clearing away a little bit of the dirt path, at least the outermost section. Don't need it so much anymore. And then I continue, first off, setting up a place for the racers to actually enter the track, as well as setting aside the northern end of the concourse for the competitors to wait before their turn comes. Now here I am also laying out the stables. Making sure I have a doorway so that the animals can get, so that the racers can get into the hippodrome. More grass growing. And back with some more materials. And this is where I actually start on the seating area a bit. Laying down some columns, sandstone columns again at each end. I've also gone ahead here and laid out some market stalls, as well as a place for the staircase up. It took me a couple of tries to actually get the staircase in order. And then laying down the rest of the shops, following suit with the staircase on the east side. I believe, this is me laying out the permanent lighting for the track. So rather than having torches on the track itself, the torches are all on the walls. And here, I also went ahead and made a little bit of an adjustment to the racer's entrance to the track. Just to center it a little bit better, make it look just that much nicer. And also make sure that the lighting is 100% what I want. Another trip to the storehouse allows me to gather some more resources so that I can actually lay out the fronts of the stalls, of the concession stands. I acknowledge 12 concession stands may be too many for a hippodrome of this size, but oh well. Also went ahead and removed some of the dirt that is no longer necessary. The grass has now grown to be over the track. Now, for the east side concession stands, walls and whatnot, another run to the storehouse for materials. And yes, you did see an Enderman there. No, I did not actually see the Enderman when I was recording this, believe it or not. More than a few things I don't necessarily see when I'm recording it, even though I have what I'm doing in first-person view on one monitor. Then on my other monitor, I have my cameraman's view. Somehow I missed, not only that Enderman, but earlier you actually saw a mana creeper blow up. And I missed that as well. And now I'm laying out the baseline for the seating area on the east side. There we go. Some more seating. Setting up the stone bricks so that the spectators, have a place to actually sit and watch the race. And I've also gone ahead and actually laid down the seats themselves. And for the seats, I used jungle wood posts for the seat bottom. And I forget what they're called. I think it's I'm pretty sure it's panel strips, I want to say, but I may have the wrong name. At any rate, I've gone ahead and built up the the east wall, rather. And this is mostly so that I have a sense of just how high my seating can feasibly go. And now that I have a sense of how high the seating will go, I can actually finish the eastern wall. And yes, I did get knocked off by a spider there. There are, I think, 2 or 3 different points here where I had to fight spiders. That might be the only one I caught on camera. At any rate, another trip to the back wall to finish it off. I know I keep calling it the back wall. It's technically the east wall, but given where the front entrance is, the term back wall may not be tremendously out of line. Alright, so there I am building up, finishing off once and for all the buildup of the eastern wall. Now I'm working on the northeastern bleachers and running back to the storehouse for more materials. Like I said, I did that a lot. In fact, I don't know if I should mention this, but the on-camera portion of this was 4 hours. Yeah, it took me 4 hours to build this hippodrome. You are not watching 4 hours of me building a hippodrome. You're watching me compress 4 hours of building a hippodrome down to about 20 minutes. And yes, you can also see that I laid down the slabs on top of the wall and over the staircase. That's mostly to make sure that mobs do not spawn on top of the hippodrome. I suppose if I had tried to be a little bit more clever, I could have maybe tried to do something fancy with the roof, but I felt I was pushing it as it is, with the size of the structure. You can also see now the northern wall being built, or most of it anyway. And with the height established on the east wall, setting up the limits of the north wall is a lot easier. And there's me setting up some scaffolding so I can get up to the top of the north wall as needed. And then, yep, here I am building up the support columns to mark the edges of the stables. That is one wall there. Yes, one segment, rather. There's number 2, which is a sort of corner piece that I just filled in completely. And then here is the northeastern corner piece that will also be filled in completely. And the support column for that stall, the corresponding roof, lighting up the contestants' waiting area, making sure the wall is in place. And now that is the northern wall of the actual hippodrome area. Also serves as the southern wall of the contestants' waiting area. And now for the roof over the contestants' waiting area. Pretty simple flat roof. I seem to be doing a lot of simple flat roofs this series. Yep, just a little bit more. And now a little bit of a wall there, just to sort of close that area in. And with grass now on the central reservation itself, I went ahead and removed the last of the dirt from there. And that is that section. Not only is the reservation complete, roughly, but the other box, the other waste box, is also finished. Now I built a staircase up because at this point I decided what I wanted was a second floor. I have to acknowledge it was not part of the initial plan, but it was something I felt would be prudent to have. So there's me setting up the actual second floor, at least of the south part of the concourse. Remember, the northern part of the concourse is actually the contestants' waiting area, and is a single floor. The western and eastern sections are not contestants, but audience seating. You can actually see me building up the wall around the south and west sides even as I continue building the floor for the second level of the south concourse. Just enough of a wall to be able to be clear about where it goes. Now I can actually start working on seating for the western stands. Yes, again with more trips to the storehouse for resources. Now here I'm also placing a glass railing with a stone, well, it's actually a glass pane wall with a stone cover strip. I'm sure that's not the right name for it, but that's the name I'm familiar with, so I'm going with it. But anyway, stone cover strip for the railing and glass covers for the actual wall itself. And there's me actually laying down the western seating. And again, since I've done this on the east side, I've got a very clear sense of what I need here. And yes, that is me building up the northwestern waste box. And with the roof, the northwestern waste box is complete, as are the northwestern seating area. As is the northwestern seating area, rather. And now that section of the wall I am completing. I opted for a sort of mid column support, something a little bit different visually for that part of the support column that's directly above and to the left of the door, just for the sake of visual acuity. And now the northwestern section of the wall is complete. And now I can complete the southwestern seating area. I've done this 3 times already. There shouldn't be too much in the way of complications. Well, unless you count the fact that I'm trying to build the box at the same time. But even that doesn't introduce much of a complication. More seats. Yes, I did have to build that scaffold there to get back up. Now the southwestern seating area is complete. So is that northern box. And now I can complete the southwestern section of the wall, at least as far as the end of the box. Now I go ahead and complete the roof on the western stands. Mostly. Admittedly, after another run or two to the storehouse. Again, this is a huge build. It used up a massive amount of resources. It took about 4 hours IRL, which, like I said, I've compressed into about 20 minutes. It is nighttime. And as you can see, I've mostly got the roof up. I've gone ahead and set up this southern area as a royal box. That's right. This is from where I and my elders will be watching the races. And there's the royal box, pretty much decorated. There's the southern wall. The western wall is complete. So I'm going ahead and placing the roof over the royal box. And of course, I have to fall off the roof. Although I think part of it too was to make sure that I could get that extra wall for the staircase sorted out. I'll also go ahead and trace a line across the sectors there, just to sort of clean up the roof line. And now, in cleaning up all of the scaffolding, I have effectively a finished hippodrome. And now I just lay down some grass and some carpenter's slopes that I'm covering with dirt, and then some seeds to give it the appearance of grass. I have to say, I really like how that turned out. I mean, just the section I got on the time-lapse looks pretty nice, and the rest of it looks good too. Alright, I am back, and I am currently in my stable, because I need to grab my horse for this. So I'm going to go ahead and leave my horse out of the stable. Now, you would think that I might be going this way out of Byzantium. No, I can in fact go this way into the city itself. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And before you ask, this is the first time, either on or off camera, that I'm actually riding a horse or chocobo down the streets of Byzantium. Now you can see the hippodrome there and the main door. I'm going to go ahead and make a left turn here. Hold on a minute, I seem to have a chunk loading issue. There we go. That's more like it. Alright, and this is the entrance for the race animals, in this case the horse. Now, I have these little stable areas here that can hold the horse for the moment, but I'm just going to go ahead and take the horse straight on to the track. Yep, it's a nice track, perhaps a little bit on the narrow side, but hey, wide enough for 4 animals to race side by side. Maybe something for the villagers to take care of later on. But I'm going to go ahead and put the horse up there for the time being. And now I'm actually going to go into the front door of the hippodrome into the spectators areas as soon as I eat a potato. Now, we have these shops here, and I still have to furnish them, but that's an off-camera job in my view. And incidentally, this area does loop around to the other side. So, your common spectators will come up here. They will take their seats on one of these benches. And incidentally, I consider it to be 1 block per person. Each of these 4 quadrants have 65 seats for a total of 260 seats. I don't think my empire has 260 people in it as of yet, and it will probably be a few stages before the population does rise that high. But we have that nice central reservation there, just to maintain a separation between the 2 directions of travel. And then you can actually watch the horses racing along the track. Maybe get some, popcorn or whatnot at the concession stand, something like that. There is a third area, and I'm going to go up this staircase here to reach it. You'll notice that it's a lot fancier. This is, in fact, the royal box, from which you can see almost the entire track. A small area on the other end there, but other than that, virtually the entire track is visible. Obviously, this is where I'm going to be sitting to watch the races alongside my elders. But yeah, that is pretty much a tour of the new Byzantium hippodrome, post-completion, of course, and yes, post-time-lapse. I also went ahead off camera and finished laying around the dirt elevation, just to make this look a little bit nicer. And before you ask, that is where the cameraman was standing during the time-lapse. But I think I've hit a good wrapping up point for this episode, what with the long process of building the hippodrome. So I will see you next time, everybody.